particular rhyme or reason as to when what airs when. It just kind of jumps back and forth throughout the day. It's always been that way, and it continues to this day. As a result, this is one of two rooms that we have dedicated toward news talk production. There's a woman named Madeline Brand who has been in the public radio circles for probably 25 years here in town. She does a daily show here live to the air at noon, Monday through Friday. We have a little slightly tiered situation here where the producers sit in the back. They type on a screen here, which is mirrored to a screen in the studio where she's sitting at. There's room for 3 guests configured in that microphone configuration. There's nobody here right now. No. If there were, we'd be in the way this place is set up. And they go ahead and they do live interviews. They pre-tape them. Although we don't use tape anymore here for that matter. Everything's on a computer. We have 2 different computer systems. We have something made by a company called Gillette Media Systems, which is the lower screen here. And we have another system, Pro Tools, which you probably have heard of, that is used for a lot of post-production work and more of the advanced editing and things that they do in shaping the sound. This is our board, and the studio the equipment in the room was redone here about 12 years ago. The quick and dirty was we built the facility, half of the facility. This half was still classrooms, but the other half of the building was the news station back in 1983. We built the studios and ran out of money. It took this college a year to figure out how to fund it. They did a lease purchase agreement with some vendor. And we then, with a lot of volunteer help and wiring, we wired that half of the facility, brought it up in late 83. In 92, 91, 92, the other half of the classrooms had moved out of here, so we took it over, got that half, built this end of the facility, which is sort of a mirror of the other end, and we ran out of money. These rooms, we had equipment in this space because we had gotten a grant for it. The other space wasn't, which we'll be touring in a minute, was not equipped. In 2000, we decided that we wanted to go ahead and unify the plant because even though we had built this end, 75% of the radio production and work was happening on the older half of the facility. So in 2001, we embarked on an 18-month tour or plan where we went ahead and literally did a shell game. We shut down part of the facility, gutted it, made whatever physical modifications we wanted to do, brought in the new equipment, brought it up, tested it, put it online, and then moved on to the next phase. That was 5 phases over an 18-month period. This is the equipment from that period. This is a digital console made by a company called Klotz Digital. They're no longer in business as such any longer. There's a whole backstory which I won't even bother to get into right now. But the main thing that I want to stress is that there is no audio actually passing through the console itself. Even though I have all the controls and faders and everything, they are effectively a keyboard for a card cage, which is located right by Tim's ankles over here with the red numbers on the front of it. That is a card cage with a fiber matrix card in it, as well as an Ethernet connection. The studios in this system are the card cage with the audio I/O in it on the back of it. There is the Ethernet cable to a switch that plugs into this and into the, I'm going to say the mothership network of the Klotz system. And then the fiber matrix, which goes ahead and sends the audio between the other studios and the central rack room where we have all of the TDM connection going back and forth. And there's, I forget how many, 90 channels or something on the TDM that's passing audio around the facility between the different rooms. So this is really nothing more than a big old keyboard. There's an Ethernet cable and a power connection to this, and that's all there is to it. We have over 400 phone lines in this facility.
Wow.
Over 400 phone numbers. We have over 100 phone lines in here, and 3 different phone switches that make up this place. The main one is these gray phones over here, the Avaya phones. The on-air phone calls are these Telos phones here, and they show up on a button set here on the console and the fader, depending on what we're doing. Additionally, that's how we go ahead and put callers on the air, if you will. Additionally, sometimes we'll have a guest in another city or another location where we want to link up to them. We have two ways of doing that. One is a digital phone line called ISDN. This is the interface to that here that we have. That is I'm literally dialing a phone number, actually a pair of phone numbers. In this case, it's going to a studio down the hall. And as you can see, it's a flashing light. It takes a little bit of time
Tone, Eastern Daylight Time.
for it to connect up. This is actually
3 minutes, 30 seconds. Universal Time, 17 hours.
This is coming from the
23
network in
minutes, 35
Washington, D.C. They've got it connected to the U.S. Naval Observatory Master
Master
Clock.
Clock.
The clock on the wall here is
Eastern
GPS
Daylight
synced.
Time.
You'll
13
notice it's about a
hours,
second
23
ahead of
minutes,
this because
45
there's the
seconds.
delay of it going up to the network and back
Universal
down
Time,
again.
17 hours,
So we're
23
slightly
minutes,
ahead of this
50
as far as
seconds.
the
What's the green
network's
light?
concerned. The green, let me
US
get to the
Naval
green line in 1
Observatory
second. No, it's fine. I'm glad you asked because I would have
Tone,
skipped over it.
Eastern Daylight Time. 13 hours,
The nice
24
thing
minutes,
about having the
6 seconds.
clock up on the satellite is that
Universal Time,
we
17
can sort of
hours,
synchronize
24
our watches
minutes,
to
5
what the
seconds.
network delay is. So we know that when it
US
comes
Naval
time when we do an
Observatory
ID and we
Master Clock.
rejoin the network live,
Eastern
we
Daylight
want to
Time.
fade it up
13 hours,
maybe
24
a second or a
15
half a
seconds.
second late, so that
Universal
so that
Time,
we're not
17
catching the
hours,
tail end
24
of whatever it was
minutes,
that they
6
were saying just before they go into the top of the news or
US Naval
whatever.
Observatory Master
Um,
Clock at the Tone,
I was
Eastern
showing
Daylight Time. 13 hours,
this
24 minutes,
ISDN
30
connection because um, the phone company provides these. It's a very 1990s technology. They are phasing it out. They don't want to support it anymore. There's no money in it. The internet took away their lunch as far as video conferencing and other things. So we've had to shift to an internet-based IP streamer, which is kind of dicey because you're dealing with the public internet and drop packets and whatnot. So there's another product made by a company called Comrex. You saw it took about 10 seconds to initiate and complete that phone call, 10 to 15 seconds. Here's how fast it is with Comrex.
minutes, 5 seconds.
Right there.
You know, I clicked it and it just goes out and does it. And it sounds just about
At
as
the
good.
Tone, Eastern Daylight Time. 13 hours, 25 minutes, 15 seconds.
That's IP.
That's IP.
Universal Time, 17 hours, 25 minutes, 20 seconds.
So that's what we're going to as far as being able to link up and do remotes. We did 6 hours on the air from Austin earlier this year using that. I was biting my nails the whole time because it was on a home grade DSL line at a restaurant there as the source, and they had it shared with some other users. So it was not an ideal setup, but it worked. We had a couple of burbles, but nothing too serious, enough to get it through without having to stress trying to get it from AT&T out there, which was a nightmare the year before. The green clock is a countdown timer. So if you would hit the one that says preset, I think it is.
This one, this is
Yeah,
preset.
yeah, go ahead and push that. And it went down to 3:17. So let's say the host is going to go ahead and introduce a recorded segment that they produced earlier, and she'll say, and here's Bob. And so you go ahead and hit the down button. And as soon as she did that, now it's counting down. So she knows she's got 3 minutes and change until that's going to come out of it. It will count down to the end of that segment. It's set by the little thumb wheels on the front of this thing. It's made by a company called El Segundo Electronics in El Segundo next to the Chevron plant. And it's a pretty much a basic staple in a lot of broadcast rooms. We never had one before this host. Before we just said, we got about so many minutes, but this one came from the network, and they use these in the network a lot. So we went ahead and used that. Another nice feature about these consoles is they have, and it's kind of standard today, but 12, 13 years ago it was cutting edge, is that we have different formats or different personalities of the console. So we can change, we have them preloaded for if you're doing a music show, it has the resources on the faders that we want for music. If we're doing a news show, it'll change the assignments of these faders at the push of a button. Additionally, I can go ahead and push a location, hit an assign button, and then through a series of button presses here, go ahead and assign a different source to any of these faders here. So it's very powerful. We have probably 100 different sources that we can go ahead and bring up on these consoles. And of course, this is a 12 fader board, so we can't put everything on any one fader. But where that's really powerful for us is, again, redundancy. If our main on-air studio, which we haven't been into, dies, then we can go ahead and run in here, put it into the music format or whatever they're using, and push 2 more buttons in the rack room, and we're on the air with this room. Any of our studios works that way. We can go ahead and any of the control rooms in here, put them on the air live that way. We don't tend to much, but we can. Again, redundancy for all that.